Hey, it's Trisha the Knitting Lady. Did you miss me? I ran away for a couple days. My son came down on Christmas. He lives in New York City. So he arrived on Christmas Day. We had dinner, went to visit a friend. Next day we took off for Asheville, which is in northern part of North Carolina. He had wanted to visit Asheville. He's looking at different cities because he eventually knows he has to move out of New York City, especially under that wonderful governor. And that's all I'm going to say about politics. Believe me, I have my opinions, but this channel is not the place for it. So we went up to Asheville, and it's a 5.5 hour drive. And there was snow on the ground. Oh, I do not miss snow. And it got icy at night. Got a little warmer during the day and icy at night. There are a lot of breweries, craft breweries up in Asheville. So we did get to go to one of them. There were lines at most of them. You know, I'm not a big drinker, but there are a lot of people out. I tell you, they're not keeping people out, you know, for Christmas, and the streets were packed. So we went up to Asheville. We ate a really nice restaurant up there called Chestnut, and we stopped at the Green Man Brewery. It was good. We couldn't get into the others, like the wait list was too long. There's one called Wicked Weed. You couldn't even, like I said, the wait list was too long to get in there. And all we did was one beer. So why should we wait a half an hour to have one beer? So that's why we wound up in that one place. So we spent 2 days in Asheville. And then we went to Charlotte. My son had to change planes in Charlotte on the way down, so he figured, why not just leave from Charlotte on our way back? So then I drove home after that. And that was a 3.5 hour drive from Charlotte back to Wilmington. So what can I tell you about Asheville? Asheville is near the French Broad River. I don't know if any of you remember when I went to Kentucky, I had to go up past Asheville to Tennessee and then to Kentucky. But I passed the sign for French Broad River, and I thought it said French Bread River. No, it's called the French Broad River. And Asheville was part of the home of the Cherokee Nation, the Native Americans, and there's a town up there, Cherokee. Asheville had another name, but they renamed it Asheville after a former governor of North Carolina. His last name was Ash, so that's how that place got its name. It's, like I said, it's 5.5 hours away. It's cold up there. It's been cold in Wilmington to begin with, but it was even colder up there. So my son got a feel for Asheville, and he says, okay, I'm good. The Biltmore Estate is up there. But unfortunately, you can't drive around it unless you pay a certain fee, and the fee was too much, just for spending a couple hours where you want to do that. It was more than $80 each. That's a little bit too much. I've been to other estates. I travel a lot. It's the trouble when you travel a lot. It's not that you see one, you see them all, but a lot of the estates are similar. You know, it was the Biltmore Estate's built by the Vanderbilt family, Gloria Vanderbilt. I don't remember her genes. She just died a couple years ago too. So then we drove over to Charlotte. Charlotte was named for the German Princess Charlotte, who later became Queen of Great Britain. And Charlotte is the most populous city in North Carolina. It's also home to a lot of tech companies, the Bank of America, the NASCAR Hall of Fame is there. We just walked around. We ate at a small place in Charlotte, and we saw downtown. My son wanted to see Charlotte too, but he said, I'm all good. I'm not going to move to Charlotte either. So it seems like North Carolina is out. He's not moving to North Carolina. He's leaving from Florida again tomorrow, so maybe he'll move there. But I'm sure you missed my trivia. I'm not going to go all the way back to the 26th, but or Christmas, but I will go back to yesterday, the 28th. And do you know what the champagne of bottled beers is? I knew this because my ex-boyfriend's friend used to drink this all the time. It's not bad beer. It was considered high-end at one point. Not anymore, but it's Miller High Life. And it was launched in 1903. It was the birth date of Denzel Washington. He was born in 1954. And President Woodrow Wilson, who was born in 1856 and died in 1924. Now, driving back from Charlotte, I went through this one town called Pineville, and there was a sign for the birthplace of President James K. Polk. So I got home and I said, okay, where was this man? Did he live in this town? Was he born here? He was born in Pineville, North Carolina, which is up in the mountain region. It's not that far out of Charlotte, and really not that far from Asheville. He was born in a log cabin in 1795. He only served one term as president. He was the first of 10 children born to a farmer. He died in 1849 in Nashville, Tennessee. He had moved to Tennessee when he was after college. He went to the University of North Carolina, though, Chapel Hill. He was 11th president. He was known for territorial expansion, mostly through the Mexican-American War. He only served one term. That's all he wanted to do, was serve one term. So this also brought in a little trivia from yesterday. On December 28th, 1846, President James K., his middle name was Knox, James Knox Polk, signed a bill which admitted Iowa as the 29th state in the Union. I haven't been to Iowa. It's one of the few states I have left to visit. And Iowa almost went to war with Missouri due to a surveying error. They couldn't decide on a boundary. The federal government had to step in and draw the boundary line. And do you ever hear the expression, greatest thing since sliced bread? Well, sliced bread was invented in Iowa. This gentleman, Otto Frederick Rottweiler, a lot of Germans and Slavics moved to the middle of the United States. You know, Minnesota, North Dakota, Iowa. That's why we have those wonderful German-sounding names out there. Of course, my maiden name, well, the name I use now is also German. Anyway, enough about the Germans. This gentleman invented the slicing machine, and it became available in 1928. I have a hard time cutting loaves of bread too, so I can relate. And remember that song American Pie by Don McLean? And there's a part of it that says, the day the music died. Well, that happened in Iowa. Buddy Holly, J.P., the Big Bopper, Richardson, and Richie Valens died in a plane crash there in 1959. There's a street in Burlington, Iowa, which was built in 1894 called Snake Alley. Ripley's, believe it or not, recognized the street as the most unbelievable crooked street. The turns are sharper on Snake Alley than they are on San Francisco's Lombard Street. I've been to San Francisco. I've seen Lombard Street. I wouldn't want to drive down it, so I don't think I'll be driving down to Snake Alley if I ever get to Burlington, Iowa. So that was yesterday, the 28th. Today, the 29th, is the birthday of Ted Danson, born in 1947, John Voight, born in 1938, and Mary Tyler Moore, born in 1936. She died in 2017. Remember the Mary Tyler Moore show or Dick Van Dyke? And did you know people who read books live an average of almost 2 years longer than those who do not? And that was through a Yale research. So I guess I'm going to live a long time. Well, only 2 years longer. Because I read a lot. I've always read a lot. And on this day, 1851, the very first American Young Men's Christian Association was organized in Boston, Massachusetts. And this song, Remember the Why? I got this from a pre-diabetic program I went to last year. YMCA. In fact, let me do the signs. YMCA. The YMCA, I can't talk. The YMCA sued the Village People for that song, but the case was dropped. So I don't know why they sued. It's a fun song. It's positive. YMCA. And 2 employees of the YMCA in Massachusetts invented different games, sports. Springfield, Massachusetts, where the Basketball Hall of Fame is now, a YMCA employee, James Naismith, invented the game of basketball. I've been to the Basketball Hall of Fame many years ago, but I've been there. And also another YMCA employee, also in Massachusetts, they don't give the town no, invented the game of volleyball. And they named it volleyball because of the balls following back and forth. I was not good at playing basketball. I'm short. But volleyball I did better at. I'm a little athletic. I wasn't that athletic in high school. But I became more as I got older. I'm do better at track. In fact, the high school I went to, I was trying to start a female track team, and the nuns, who I went to Catholic high school, enough said about that, thought that was silly, girls track. Well, same high school, years later, they must have agreed, started one, became one of the best track teams in the state. So somebody took up my idea. So I did better at track. But I was also very good at soccer, which of course is football everywhere else. I can still sweep somebody's legs. There are sports for short people. So that's about it. I hope everybody's having a good day. I was going to go away for New Year's. I decided not to because it's going to rain. So I'll probably put away all my Christmas stuff. And I did some work this morning. I have to do some more work later. I'm just not in the mood for Christmas anymore. That's what I have a problem with Christmas every year for this reason. It's build up, and then it's such a letdown afterwards. You know, it's over in a day. So, but I have a birthday coming up, so I might give that yarn away around my birthday. I have to think about it. So, just remember Elvis's birthday. Elvis and I share a birthday. So everybody have a good day, and hopefully I shall see you tomorrow. Bye now.